YouTube, what is going on? Zmar Cyber back with another video. First and foremost, I want to say Happy New Year's, and I hope everyone enjoyed their New Year's Day. Obviously, it's still New Year's Day. It's January 1st. Actually, I lied. It's 12 p.m. So I just hope you guys enjoy the day. In this video, I wanted to talk about what is the price you're willing to pay to get into cybersecurity. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, please leave a like. There's two funny stories as to how I actually got into cybersecurity, right? So when I was younger, I was playing my Xbox 360, and of course there's the usual trash talker in the lobby saying how, oh, he's gonna start booting people offline, or he's gonna shut off your router. I forget what he actually said, but I remember him saying something, and you know, as a kid, I probably said something smart back, or I probably laughed. I was probably like, oh, you can't do that, or whatever the case may be. I said something like that. So within the next 5 minutes, the router in my house goes off. You know, I was very shocked, because I was like, how is this even possible? You know, especially at the time. So I became very curious. I was like, how is that possible? I just always remember asking myself, how is that possible? So that led me to actually go on YouTube and look into DDoSing and how DDoSing works, and how you're able to DDoS someone on Xbox 360. I'm not saying I ever did it now, but I definitely did look into it, and I became a lot more curious into IT after that. So the second story I actually have as well is, you know, obviously when I was little, we had DSL. It was very slow. I think it was like 5 megabits per second, and like maybe a megabit up. It was something crazy. It was a crazy plan. So I remember playing my Xbox 360, and I would be lagging a lot. And as you know, with that slow of an internet connection, you can't have a lot of devices connected all at once, because that means that every device has a certain bandwidth that is taken up, and it takes away from your overall bandwidth, right? So understanding that I'm a little kid and I want to game and I don't want to lag at all, I looked up how to route all the traffic or all the bandwidth to my Xbox 360. And that's also, like, you know, another funny story that I had, because I remember just being so fed up, you know, with my sister and I think my dad, you know, just having like the laptop and their phones connected, and they would always use it, you know, when I was trying to game. So you know, I looked it up, and that's just another interest of mine, or another candle that got lit in my brain, and it made me want to look into IT a lot more from there on. And recently now, I was a former St. John's University undergraduate student. I majored in their Bachelor's of Science Cybersecurity Systems program, and I minored in their Business Administration. I did 2 years there, and then I recently transferred to WGU, as you guys know, where I do their Bachelor's of Cybersecurity and Information Assurance program. So far, I like the program, and yeah, that's that. Bring it back a little bit further now. I did 3 years of career and technical education in my high school. So I graduated with my CompTIA IT Fundamental certificate. Unfortunately, COVID cut us short, and we were supposed to graduate with 4 certifications. So that's the IT Fundamentals, that's the A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. But unfortunately, like I just said, COVID cut us short. So I only graduated with 1, but I was still very happy about that. But despite all of that, I kept moving forward, I kept pushing forward, and I kept persevering, and I'm still persevering, trying to get into cybersecurity right now as I attend WGU. So my question to you guys is, what are you willing to give up, or what are you willing to sacrifice to actually get into cybersecurity or IT, right? Because oftentimes in not, when we look at our habits, right, we don't realize that we're wasting a lot of time on some of our bad habits, right? And these bad habits really could be anything, right? You know, something that I tell myself over and over today is do it now, do it now, do it now, right? I think I seen a video from Jim Ron. He's like this motivational speaker, and I love his videos. And it really stuck with me because it's like, if it takes less than 5 minutes, why not just do it right now and just get out the way, right? So this kind of goes back to the bad habits, right? You know, if you're constantly procrastinating, if you're constantly putting things off, you'll never get things done. And in cybersecurity, that's not going to work at all, right? You actually need to put in the work, you actually need to study, and you actually need to be consistent to get into the field. So looking at your habits, particularly your bad ones, is something that you should definitely do. Another one is obviously going out less, so reducing social gatherings or just reducing outings frees up a lot of time. You know, whatever time that you were planned to use to go out, you could be using that time to study. This would be good for projects, you know, certifications, you know, education, homework, whatever the case may be. This will be good for that, right? You know, just so spending that little bit extra time will push you a lot further ahead. But it's also important to have a good balance, and without balance, you know, and you'll be a lot more miserable, especially in cybersecurity, right? If you're constantly studying or constantly trying to keep up to date, but you don't have that balance where it's like, okay, I'm going to go enjoy myself, right? You're gonna get burnt out and you're gonna be miserable, and you don't want that. As I mentioned in last video, cybersecurity is an ever-changing field, right? While it's also rapidly advancing in practices, you know, every type of practice that you can really think of. I'm not gonna name them all, right? But just like pen testers, right? They're gonna have to use different tools to actually hack into a system, or even GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, right? They have to constantly be updated with the certain laws, and whatever else, right? So understanding that it's an ever-changing field and it's advancing, you want to study more, you want to constantly learn, right? Constantly learning in cybersecurity is more important than anything else, right? Because if you're not up to date, or if you're not constantly learning the next big thing, you're gonna fall behind, right? And companies want to employ people that are ambitious, right? They're looking for the person that's gonna take that extra step, right? Or take the extra mile, right? They want to see that you're advancing, they want to see that you're learning, they want to see that you're applying the skills, as I mentioned in my last video. And it's important that you do all these things because they like it. They like seeing that you're ambitious and you're willing to learn, that you want to learn. This kind of emphasizes why you have to want to learn cyber instead of just doing it for the money, right? You know, people see cybersecurity salaries and they're very amazed, right? They don't understand that the effort that's put in to actually get there, right? But without the effort, you know, obviously, you know, when we look at successful or famous people today, we just look at like the end goal, the end result, you know, we just see them big. You know, oftentimes you don't actually see the progression there. But you know, in cybersecurity, you know, we see these salaries on TikTok or, you know, on Instagram where it's like, oh, make 100K plus from joining cybersecurity, or, you know, whatever the ad or whatever it may be, right? But quite frankly, it's not like that. You know, it's not as easy as it may seem. It's very important to understand the effort that was actually put in to get there. Actually, to study helps, right? You know, blocking out an hour or two to study, it'll help you in the long run, right? You know, in high school we did the Pomodoro technique. I'm sure you guys may have heard of that. That's basically where you set a timer for 25 minutes, and after you work diligently and actually give your full focus to that body of work, you take a 5-minute break after the timer goes off, right? This used to work for me, or this still works for me today, you know, whenever my mind is racing or I can't seem to focus. And it's a very good technique, and I'm glad that my instructor in high school, you know, brought it to our attention. So I keep going back to certifications because I do want to emphasize the constant learning point, right? So far I've got my CompTIA IT fundamentals, I have my Google cybersecurity certificate, I have my FEMA incident response or ICS 100 certificate, I have my St. John's University core security training, and that's it right now. But I'm also working on my CompTIA 8+. I already passed the core 2. My core 1 is scheduled for this Friday, January 3rd. So I plan on passing that as well, and after that I believe I move on to get my network plus, if I'm not mistaken, from WGU. None of those things or none of those certifications would have been accomplished if I didn't want to constantly learn, right? If I just sat back and I just wondered about getting into the field, I would have never even got any of them at all, right? But I was curious and I was eager, so I ended up spending time to actually study and get those certifications. Getting the ample amount of sleep is also one of the things that we seem to overlook, right? With good ample sleep, it improves your focus, it improves memory, and it improves your productivity, right? And oftentimes we seem to always, just bury sleep or make it seem like it's a burden, almost like you're not a burden, like not a burden, but we rather not do it sometimes. We rather stay up that extra hour or that extra 2 hours and scroll or watch videos or watch movies, whatever the case may be, right? But sleep is really important, and I'm starting to learn that as I get older, right? Oftentimes you actually also feel groggy when you wake up and when you're not well rested. And let's just say you have to go to work, you may not be able to take that nap, right? So just the emphasis on sleep it's very important. I don't want to sound like a doctor or whatever, but it is very important. And cybersecurity professionals that I see online, sometimes their shifts are even overnight, or um the graveyard shift, like, probably from like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So they have to constantly be on their computer, constantly be alert. God forbid they fall asleep and, they get a detection or a notification that, a system is compromised and they're not able to actually answer that threat quick enough, and it compromises the systems, right? It could be very detrimental to the company. So I'm like my point with that is that person actually has to work around his schedule because he's working overnight, right? So to understand that you need sleep to actually do your job and do the functions of your job is important, you know? So get some sleep. So cybersecurity isn't just a technical skills job or role or profession, right? But it's also soft skills, in which these habits of ours, sets us apart. It's very important that we emphasize these good habits. We work on these good habits, and through these good habits we could achieve a lot. But yet we seem to always go back to the bad ones and stay doing the bad ones over and over again. So I wanted to bring up these last couple of points now, right? Obviously, it's very important that you be consistent and you don't try to overdo it. You'll get burnt out quick. Pick a time where you actually are able to sit down and learn and study, right? So Jim Rohn, right? He brought up this point called the law of accumulation, and basically it states that everything counts. Everything that you're doing is either moving you towards your goals in life or it's moving you away. The law of accumulation says that everything counts, right? So just understanding that that extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes that you put into studying, or understanding that that constant going out on the weekends, or drinking, smoking, whatever it may be, right? The constant understanding that everything counts in life will help you push yourself forward. Everything counts. It just makes sense. Like, every action has a reaction. And to understand, in cybersecurity, one thing isn't going to get done without actually working, right? But this goes for everything, not just cybersecurity. So taking a look at your bad habits and understanding where you're going wrong and what you could do better, and actually wanting to learn and wanting to do better for yourself will help you advance a lot better and quicker. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's like, for the new year, we set goals, we don't achieve them. We set goals for the next year, we don't achieve them. But it's like, when is something going to change? When are you going to want more for yourself? It doesn't make sense, but we seem, it's just human nature to go back to these bad things that we keep on doing, yet we know we should be doing something else. So look at the benefits of paying the price. See your outlook 5, 10, or even 15 years down the line at and what you want to accomplish. Be clear and concise, but also be realistic. That doesn't mean not to have what others would call insane ideas, but look at the time in which you could achieve that goal, what it would look like, and what's your plan of action. So I want to leave you guys with this, right? Start small, but start now. Understand that everything adds up. Identify what you're willing to sacrifice to get into the field. And if you pay the price, you are willing to be successful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a different type of video, probably a longer video at that. I got a microphone, so hopefully the audio quality sounds a lot better. Soon I will definitely get a new camera. But this is another episode of Road to Cyber. I believe this is probably what, episode 6, episode 7. I think what I'm gonna do is just take it out the title and just add it to a certain playlist. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you guys did. And more videos will be pumping out constantly, more and more frequently, as I'm on this grind to get into cybersecurity. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.